Thank you for tuning in to Turn Pain into Power podcast. I have my special guest, LeLe, best friend, also known as the Braidtress. Here we are going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, is it worth staying in the relationship for the kids? Is it worth keeping the family together with a toxic partner? Yes. I feel like this is something that, excuse my voice, y'all. As y'all can tell, I lost my voice due to the pollen here in Florida. Is it worth keeping the family together? I feel like this is a must topic to be talked about because I see a lot of women working real hard to keep this family together, even if they're doing all the work. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. You be doing all the work, but just to paint that image, just for your kids to have that image to look up to, you work that hard to keep that family together, no matter how bare minimum the partner is. And I'm going to bring 2 points of views during this podcast. My point of view as a mother raising a queen, a young queen, and her point of view as being in the child's position, growing up in that dysfunction, and then having a stepfather step in and pretty much being pulled out of that toxic partner family picture that she was brought into. So LeLe, I do want you to go ahead and start with your point of view growing up.
Yes. So for me, growing up in my childhood, there was a lot of domestic violence. And for me, just like Stephanie said, mother or father staying in a situation, trying to make a good environment for their child while going through a toxic situation. Mm-hmm. For me, my point of view is not what it is. It's detrimental to the child. It's detrimental to the health of the parent. So for me, dealing with that type of situation, it brings about a lot of depression, anxiety, really bad anxiety. You get familiarized with this type of behavior because it's happening every day around you. And so you turn into an adult or a young adult and you think this is normal. A lot of times when we get older, we know that these things are wrong, but it's been conditioned into us and we can't really break from it. It's a cycle that, like Stephanie said, we have to try to break the cycle. Sometimes it's hard, and especially when you have parents that don't know how to break the cycle. Mm-hmm. So you can't be taught something that the parent doesn't know. So yes, it was very detrimental. I suffered from depression as an adult, anxiety as an adult, going through my own verbal and physical abuse relationships myself, and like she said, being familiarized with it, thinking that that's the norm, and I'm thinking it's the norm, and it's not. So being in my 30s, I'm having to learn these things,
Yes, and me being, a little bit about my personal experience, me being raised up in dysfunction, you do get familiarized with it, and what happens when you get familiarized with a cycle is that you start to search for these type of trauma bonds that you looked up to. So when you are familiarized with toxic bonds, trauma bonds, this is your ideal. This is what you look up to. And crazy enough, chaos is what you look for. Peace doesn't seem familiar because that's not what you looked up to. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to talk about these topics, especially now. Mental health is very vital. So yes, we must break that cycle, especially for my ladies out there. Sometimes it's so hard, especially for a single mother, to have that family image, and you fall for the bait. Sometimes the partner that you have, the partner you have a baby with, they're not the ideal partner, and that's why this topic is so important. Is it worth keeping that family together, even if you're with a toxic partner? I don't think so. Based on personal experience, if you become familiar, and if this is what you feed, this is the type of energy, this is the type of example, this is what you feed your child, this is also what they're going to foster. Mm-hmm. These are the type of relationships they're also going to seek. Yeah. And, based on experience, when you learn from that hurt, from that trauma, from repeating those cycles, especially from repeating them cycles, you don't want your child to go through that, obviously. So, in my eyes, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. When you have a healthy relationship, when you set a healthy example, when you have a healthy example of what a healthy relationship should feel like, should look like to your seed, to your child, to that next generation that's so important, it's like that's what matters. That's what's key. We need to be able to break that cycle, but most importantly, we need to be able to feed healthy bonds. Let's stop the cycle by stopping that little seed in the back of our mind that we just want to paint that family picture. Because painting the wrong family picture, painting a toxic family picture, painting a picture that's going to bring your child into some hurt, some more traumatic experiences, them really being blinded to the fact that that's not really what is a healthy relationship. You know, when you out here looking for chaos, you out here looking for toxicity in a partner, that's not going to bring you no peace. That's not going to bring you no happiness. As she said, if anything, your results are going to be a lot of mental issues and depression, you know, anxiety, depression, mental health issues that are going to make it a lot harder for you to heal. And I want to hear a little bit about the changes that you in a child's position, you know, the dynamic that LeLe has to offer is the child's place, you know, what she saw growing up, and how it affected her.
So for me as a child growing up in that type of environment, I was always scared all the time. I was scared for my mom. I was scared for my siblings. My mom, she was a young mom. She had my mom had 6 kids. They were all in their 20s. So she's trying not to struggle with us. So she needs a man in her life, not wanting to struggle, want to be able to feed us, get us where we need to go, and everything like that. But the men that were in her life were just crap, you know. And so for me, seeing my mom go through that, I'm thinking that this is okay. I know it's not okay. And so, you know, seeing her go through that, it made me sad, knowing that this can't be life, but it's a cycle, like she said. And then once she got those men out of her life, you know, my stepdad came into her life, her whole dynamic changed. Yes, she was still mentally scarred. She had PTSD. You know, those scars are real. So when, like Stephanie said earlier, you're looking for peace. You know, you're thinking that peace is abnormal. You're like, oh no, it's way too peaceful. What's going on? My mama used to flip out sometimes because she's used to chaos. She used to defend herself. She used to fight and she used to arguing. She used to having to do all that stuff. And it's like my stepdad would always tell her, I'm not him. I'm not that person. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So that started to change how we looked at our mom. It started to change how we looked at men, you know, how we looked at the family dynamic. You know, they were happy after that. You know, he showed her that, hey, all men are not like that. I'm here to love you. And that's exactly what he did, and it changed everything. And so having the right partner is very important, you know, and sometimes you have to be by yourself to figure out. Having the right person in your life is definitely important for your health and for your kids' health, mental health, definitely. Once my stepdad came into my mom's life, it changed everything. Yeah, it was a little rocky in the beginning because she had to adjust to having peace, to having someone that respected her and loved her and her kids, you know. But after that, you know, things changed, and us as children, we can feel that we can feel that vibration. We can feel that energy. And like she said, energy is real. A vibe is a vibration. Vibration is energy. You know, so when we change that dynamic, everything else falls into place. So sometimes, you know, being a single mom, you will have to struggle. You're going to have to do things by yourself. But at the end of the day, it makes you stronger and it makes your kids look at you in a different light. So, you know.
It's important to point out the transition that you saw your mother going from messing with the wrong dudes to the right. That being said, it's not just important to paint a family picture. You know, I want to point out that it is the most important thing. It is for your child to look at healthy and safe relationships. Pointing out the transition that she experienced, seeing her mom go from messing with the wrong dudes to messing with a man that loved her, messing with a man that made her laugh, that wanted to see her enjoy life, see her dance. You know, a child needs to see that. That is the most important thing to point out here. It is more important for a child to see their mother happy in a loving, healthy relationship than just to have that family image. So with that being said, please make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Very important to get this information out there. As you can see, we are rocking my Pain in the Power shirts. Log in, paininthepowerstore.etsy.com. Custom shirts. Support the movement, y'all. This is very important. Support my girl, the Braidtress.
Yes, the Braidtress on Instagram. I'm Tampa-based stylist. You know, you all can hit me up. Locks, knotless braids, natural hair. That's it.
It's all about branching out, branding out, and, you know, creating, being creative. That's another thing, guys. When you're in a happy state of mind, when you are doing when you are fostering healthy relationships, you are having healthy connections, you are vibing with the right energy, you can really focus on your craft. God's gonna go ahead and align you with your passions and your purpose. Guess what happens when you continue to mess with the wrong people? When you continue to foster toxic relationships, you can't focus because the devil wants you distracted, honey. And it's those relationships, that toxicity is going to distract you from your purpose to the point where you have no purpose. The devil don't want you to have no purpose. The devil don't want you to have no purpose. The devil don't want you to have no direction, no focus. You are in a state of mind, in a negative state of mind that is consistently being fight or flight. So steer clear from these relationships. And with that being said, you see from this young woman how she has overcame so much from her childhood. I have overcame a lot from my childhood trauma, but her dealing with depression, you know, these are long battles. These are long mental health battles. Yeah. And for you to be able to overcome that firsthand, I want you to let the people know how worth it is it for you to make these right choices with the right bonds, foster the right relationships.
It may not seem like anything when you're in it. You know, when you're in the funk, you can't tell, but believe me, in the future, it makes all the difference. If I knew then what I knew now, and everybody would say the same thing, but I'm going to tell you, when you feel something is wrong, change it.
As y'all, so do what's best for you. Make sure you put your mental health first. Start making them healthy choices and them healthy changes, and stop fostering these toxic relationships. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to keep a toxic relationship with a toxic partner to keep the family together. It's actually something that's going to cause more damage than good for your child. Please make sure you go ahead and check out my artwork. Support the movement. Go on paintinthepowerstore.etsy.com. You can check out my custom t-shirts. Check out my girl, the Braidtress, on Instagram. She gonna hook up that hair, honey. She has custom wigs as well. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to Turn Pain into Power podcast. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful day.
Yes.
Hey, and stay up. Stay. Once again, a special thank you to my best friend, LeLe, my special guest here on this podcast today.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sending love, y'all.
Yes.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Mm-hmm.